Two Sentence Horror Stories is the newest CW show. Now, the CW is something that when it's brought up, a lot of people kind of laugh it off as some, teeny bopper type network. And while I can understand that, honestly, and this is something a couple of my friends and I laugh about because we're really huge horror fans that are into really vile, nasty, vicious shit. And the CW to us, we probably wouldn't fit the normal demographic that you would think you would see from the programming that they put out. But here's the thing. The CW puts out some fantastic television series. Now, of course, this is dependent on your taste. I'm sure someone will be sitting here and be like, what are you talking about? And they'll not like any of the shows that I'm about to mention. But for me, I think the CW is one of the best channels on television, just purely off of the fact of how many shows that I really enjoy and consistently watch from them. And that is the DC shows, which is The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl. They also have Black Lightning, so they have a decent amount, a good amount, I mean, maybe more than any other network. They have a lot of superhero shows, and I am a big fan of all of them. They also have one of the best horror comedies on television that people don't watch enough, and it just finally finished its 5th season, which is its final season, and that is the show IZombie. And I feel like the lead actress there does not get anywhere near enough credit for her amazing performances that she gives in every episode, because in that show, every episode she essentially has to be a different character, but also consistently be her character, live more, while being the other character simultaneously. If you don't know what the show's about, look it up. It's a zombie detective show. Anytime I tell anyone about it, they look at me like I'm idiotic. Like, they're like, what? That sounds what? And I'm like, no, it's awesome. Trust me, iZombie. If you like a Santa Clarita Diet or something and you haven't seen iZombie, please watch it. It's excellent. They also have, Supernatural and The 100 and Riverdale, and there's a ton of great shows on the CW. So, when I saw that they were putting out a horror show, I was like, oh wow, here we go. Now they got a horror show too that I can watch. So I didn't even know that anything about this. I didn't know of its existence until a couple weeks ago, or I think maybe I'd heard the title, but outside of that, I hadn't heard anything of it. And then boom, it was like, oh, it's coming out on the CW in 2 weeks. And here we are. And the first 2 episodes aired yesterday, I want to say, on the 8th. And so I got to watch them tonight. The CW app is free to download on Xbox, Apple TV, Roku, whatever. You can download the CW app. It's free. It has commercials, but you can watch, the last 5 episodes or whatnot. And Netflix has a deal with the CW where when their season ends, with 8 days later, the season drops on Netflix. So since iZombie just ended its 5th season, the 5th season should be on Netflix in a few days here. So I watched the first 2 episodes. They're only 23 minutes a piece, so it's a 30-minute show. And the first episode was called Gentleman. And this is about a woman who just had a baby 9 months ago, and she meets up with this guy, and they are on their first date. And the things aren't really going all that well. They're not really meshing, and she's about to get up and leave when a friend of his walks in with a baby, and she sees how wonderful he is with the child, and that piques her interest in him again. So they continue their date, and things go well, and then we find out something not so great about him. The episode is fine. I think it's definitely better than The Twilight Zone, the new Twilight Zone, which I thought was absolutely dreadful. You can watch all of my reviews on here from episode 1 through 8. I stopped at 8. I've yet to ever be able to bring myself to finish 9 and 10. I could not get into that show for the life of me. Every episode was either blah or terrible. There was one episode I actually liked and nothing else. And so that was a huge shame for an anthology kind of horror, sci-fi, whatever kind of show you have here. Now this one, it's the CW, so it's not going to be over the top graphic or anything like that. But, you know, it still can have that creep factor. It can still build atmosphere. It doesn't have to be R-rated or even like, M-rated or anything like a American Horror Story or a Channel Zero or something like that. And so the big problem I had with this first episode is I thought the first episode was extremely predictable. Now, that might just be because I know what to look for and what not to when it comes to these kinds of stories. So when I was watching this, I mean, instantly, within a minute, picked up on the twist of the episode. And it irritated me because I just kept waiting for it to happen the whole time. And when it did, it felt so telegraphed. But as I said, that might just be because I've watched too much of this kind of stuff. And so I'm on the lookout for it. Now, putting the twist aside and all of that, the episode itself is fine. It's good. It's okay. I guess okay and good aren't maybe a little different from each other. I'm going to lean more towards okay. I definitely didn't really enjoy it or anything. I was just kind of like, there was some decent setup in there. The production value's pretty good, not great. You can tell the budget's a little lower here. Both episodes, it feels very contained. It feels very small. And I do think that that's a budgetary constraint. Now, they could be going for a feeling of isolation, but that's not really the feeling I got here. I felt like I was watching something that was very much lacking in production value. The acting in it's good. Everything about this episode and everything about this show so far is just fine, adequate, good. Nothing that I'm going to be like, oh, you got to watch this. Neither one of these episodes are anything you need to rush to, for sure. So far, it's fairly disappointing. Even though I didn't really know about it all that, but a few days ago or weeks ago, I know I wasn't anticipating it or all that excited about it, but it's a horror show. Of course I want it to be great. There's an expectation and a desire for any horror show to be great because it's horror and I fucking love horror. And any show I watch, any time I give to anything, I want it to have been worthwhile. And when it's just blah or it's okay, it's like, nah, like that's a huge bummer. Now, episode 2 is called Squirm, and this is about a young lady who's at an office party and she's feeling a little bit woozy. And when she wakes up in the morning back at her apartment, she is convinced she was raped or at least defiled in some way. So somebody took advantage of her, somebody did something to her. So she wakes up with something written on her stomach and a note left for her that they left something in her house or maybe inside of her. And so she freaks out and she's having like this whole nervous breakdown thinking there's like something inside of her, and she goes to the doctor and she's trying to figure it out. And right when she's trying to get her life back together, there's more indication, there's more clues towards that she does have something indeed wrong with her, and she's suspicious of this guy at work, and she's suspicious of everyone around her, and her whole world's falling apart. This episode, I liked it even a little less than the last episode. I was mostly just kind of confused by the ending, and I feel like it was supposed to be metaphorical. And that's what I took from it. So maybe I was reading too much into it, but that's just what I took from it. I watched, and at the end, I was like, I think that was supposed to be like some kind of a metaphor. I don't know if I was supposed to be taking that episode literally or not. The only thing it kind of reminds me of is the movie Bug. Now, it's nowhere near as good as Bug. I think Bug is excellent, but it did kind of have that feel to it as far as the story goes and the performance of the young lady who thinks she has something inside of her. And by the title, I'm sure you can guess what she thinks she has inside of her. But overall, I just didn't feel like the ending had some kind of payoff that I would have. The ending didn't work for me. That's what it comes down to. I thought that the lead up to it was fine. A girl who really just didn't know whether or not she had been taken advantage of, which would be horrible and something that, I don't know if you'd be able to just get over. Just that unknown. The unknown is what really terrifies us more than anything. And so I can sympathize, but I was hoping for this big payoff about the mystery, because they were kind of setting up this reveal, this mystery in it. Like, oh shit, what's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? What's it all gonna culminate to? And it just kind of was like, there's the ending, and it's like, oh, well then wait, what happened before? Was that, huh? Okay, but then it's kind of one of those kinds of endings. So as I said, I don't know what to take from it. And because of that, I felt confused and disappointed. And, maybe too dumb to get the episode. And if I was smarter, I would have enjoyed it more. But I really don't think that's the case. But anyways, I've talked too damn long about this. I just wanted to give real quick first impressions of these two first episodes. I'm sure no one's ever even going to watch this damn show. No one's talking about it. I haven't seen shit about it. So I don't know. Maybe if you're watching this, you probably saw him. So what did you guys think? Am I crazy? Am I way off base? Did you absolutely hate him? Did you absolutely love him? Or are you kind of like with me where you're like, meh? Let me know. Adios.